And I remember like hearing about it, and I'm just like why would like obviously I love tactics games, but I'm just like I don't want to be with the rabbits. Like how stupid is this gonna be? Like it's just gonna like I had no hope in it.
This is why you should play Mario Rabbids. Finally, we are back. It has been far too long since I've done a mainline episode, and I promise you I am trying to remedy that not only with this episode, but with another upcoming episode that I am pretty excited about with a first time guest. But in the meantime, this is another episode that is long in the works, not just in terms of wanting to discuss this game with this guest, but just in the sheer logistical challenge that was scheduling this video between family obligations and holidays and illnesses and scheduling and other obligations we were not able to iron out. But finally, again, we are here, and my guest today is a return guest, someone whose opinion on games I have a massive amount of respect for, because despite them being a weeb, they actually have a surprisingly large taste, wide ranging taste in games. And an example of that is today. Now, Straw Hat, before I ask how you are doing, much more importantly, how is Nathan doing? What is his schedule this week? Is it like spa day or what's going on?
Well, first of all, konnichiwa, Minasan. It's good to
Of
be
course.
back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been I before I get into that, this cold, I tell you, we don't really go out too much because with Nathan, we don't really want to catch him catching too much. So I
Yeah.
have no idea how I caught this cold, but I'm going on 2 weeks removed, and I'm still a little like stuffy, just like recovering from it. So I have no idea
Mm.
what type of plague I caught, but unfortunately Nathan caught it as well.
Oh
But my
no.
wife Joanna did not catch it. So apparently it's targeting males and it's coming for us cuz but yeah, Nathan had a pretty good week. Yeah, today Fridays are pretty much his days off from his
Okay.
obligation therapies and such. Tuesday is his day at the pool.
Okay.
He
Of
gets a
course.
massage pretty much every day, night before bed and a
Well, excuse
bath.
me.
So he's
Wow.
very
Wow.
very very pampered in that way, but
Wow.
yeah, he's doing good. He's getting bigger. It's crazy. I think he's getting close to between 19 and 20 pounds. He's almost 3 feet long. So he's,
Whoa.
I think, almost a year I think he's a year and 5 months, so 17 months.
Wow.
Which I
Amazing.
never, I gotta say, one of my pet peeves is, because I'm not around children very much, or I wasn't, but I always used to get annoyed at the mothers who are like, my child is 35 months years old. I'm like, what? They're almost 3. What are you doing? Like, why are we talking like this? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it makes them sound very sophisticated, and
Yeah.
I don't know. They love them so much they want to be exactly precise on
I
the
think they
number
want
of
to keep
months.
them smaller. It's like once you hit a year or 2 years old, it's like, all right, like I'm not gonna like I don't know how many months old I am now because I'm 35, but come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know what is the understood cutoff. I would guess it's maybe 3 years, 36
My wife
months,
says it's 2 years.
two
After
years.
24 months, you got to
Okay.
start saying 2 years, I
Because
guess.
I'm trying to remember. I think on clothing measurements they do say like 36 months as well, if I
Yeah, they
recall.
do.
But yeah, it's annoying. Um, but I have two important follow up questions because I'm doing journalism.
Oh,
Has he learned the words Donkey Kong yet?
not yet. He's gotten close to saying "duh," so he's
Okay,
working on it. But
it's
yeah, Donkey
progress.
Kong. I'm getting him prepped. I got him the Rosalina storybook for Christmas. It was mainly
Very
for
important.
myself, but
Of
I
course,
told
of
Joanna
course,
that we had to get it for him. So
of course.
'cause we do read him a lot of books. He does like looking at books. So
That's good.
slowly getting him ready for the plumber because we didn't take him to the Mario Galaxy movie, but I wanted to. But that's probably going to be the Mario movie. Might be one of the first. Scooby Doo is also, of course, something I will be introducing at a very young age.
Of course. Then the other important question I have is I know you are still located up there, upstate New York, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is he still resisting the advances of the vicious Buffalo
Or
Bills
the
fans?
Bills Mafia. My father-in-law is a Steelers fan, and my one
Okay,
nephew is a Steelers fan, but
good.
my sister-in-law is a heavy Bills fan, and my other nephew is a Bills fan, so they keep threatening to get, him Josh
Mm,
Allen stuff. I When
oh
he was
no.
at Oshai Hospital, of course, the Bills are very prevalent up there. They gave him some stuff which I want to use as like wipes
Propaganda.
basically. So because
Yeah.
we don't need the Bills stuff,
Yeah, you don't. You gotta always be on the lookout for propaganda. So
yeah. So my wife is not really an NFL fan, so I'm free
okay.
to do the prop or to claim the Steelers for Nathan. But when it comes
Okay.
to the NHL, that's where we're gonna have a little bit of a struggle because I'm a Pens fan and she is a very strong Buffalo Sabres fan.
Oh no.
So we are
Okay.
still going back and forth on, who are we going to push? I keep saying, the Pens have won, what I think 5 Stanley Cups. The Sabres have done nothing, frankly. They've gotten to the
Yeah.
finals and lost, but so I'm just like, what do you want to be on the right side of history with one of the greatest hockey player or we've had two probably top 5 hockey players of all time and Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby. I mean, do you want to be with us or you want to be with the Sabres' best player, Ryan Miller, the goaltender? I mean, come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's true. But also, I mean, y- you got to make him aware of what you're getting into with the Penguins fans, right? I mean, the Penguins are like among the most hated
They
in the league.
are.
No.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, see, I feel like, yeah, around here, the Steelers are not really that much hated because, the Bills, mostly everybody hates the Jets, the Patriots, the
Yeah.
Dolphins. People do hate the Dolphins around here, Pete. I know you're a
That's
fan.
funny.
People get so mad about
We went to a Dolphins game many years ago, and the Bills fans were they were talking trash, even walking out of the stadium, and the Dolphins had won. Where I'm like, what are you doing? You
All
know?
I know is your old head coach. What's was it Mike McDaniels?
Oh,
What was
Mike
his name?
McDaniel. Yeah.
Oh, they just despise that guy. They're just like, he shouldn't even be a football coach. He's just a big nerd. Like he's not even just like, all
Yeah,
right,
he does look
calm
like a nerd,
down.
and then he tried to go like full Miami with like
Yeah.
the big sunglasses and like the tracksuit. I'm just like, no, man, no. What are you
But
doing?
see, I would the Patriots are definitely number one most hated, as they should be. I'm sorry, I know Addy,
Oh,
you love the
yeah,
but everybody, even
yeah,
the Steeler fans, we hate the Patriots. Everybody hates the Patriots, but
yeah. And the fact that they're like good immediately again after like 1 or 2 years of bad, it's just
yeah.
disgusting.
And to our friend Parrot, people do hate the Jets, but also it's the Jets. So
Well, the
come
Jets are
on,
like a punchline though. It's like
they
it's hate.
are.
It's like there's too much entertainment to like pure straight up hate them. That's what I always say as a Dolphins fan. Well, I don't know. There's two competing sort of philosophies. It's like the Dolphins fans, you could say at least we're not the Jets, but on the other hand, like the Dolphins are always in purgatory. They're
Yeah,
always like 7-9, then maybe they'll compete for the playoffs. The Jets are like always like never going to compete for anything. So there's a kind of inner peace about that. Like I know Parrot has kind of adopted that sort of inner peace. Like
mhm. He doesn't even
he
care
doesn't care about the
anymore.
Jets anymore, right? He pretends it doesn't exist. Like that's me. It's like the Dolphins win. They'll make the playoffs once every 6 years or something. It's like, oh, we can have a good team, and then they like blow up the franchise again, and which I think is what they're going to do again. They're already doing a fire
Yeah,
sale, which I
it's
don't. Which
tough.
I saw coming because I was never a big Tua guy, but we could be on about
We could do a
sports
sports
forever. Yeah,
podcast if we wanted to, but
yeah. We can go to let's pivot to a much more enjoyable topic that is video games. Um, to sort of start up, well, kind of keep sort of keep on the negative. Your a recent phenomenon you've adopted, I guess I don't know, over the past year, 6 months, something like that, is you've actually been dropping games. So
oh yeah.
let's embrace that chaos and get into what you've dropped
Yeah,
what you've been playing.
so it's funny because Parrot and myself both kind of adopted this, but Parrot has abandoned me. He just makes fun of me now, and I'm like, you used to be just as bad, but
Yeah,
we've always been like, if you're not enjoying a game, you should just drop it. Like, why are you making
yeah,
yourself play it? Especially when
anything,
there's
a
yeah,
book or TV show or
exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
When there's so many games and like our
Yes,
backlogs are huge and growing, and
yes,
we got state of plays coming, we got Nintendo
hmm,
Directs, like we're gonna get
yeah.
more stuff.
Mina the Hollower just came out today. I'm excited to
Right,
play
and it
that.
looks
So
great.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I've always been I've got a quick trigger when it comes to dropping. I mean, Sometimes it's a few minutes, sometimes it's a couple hours.
Wow.
I mean, there's been some times where I played a game. I think my biggest was, which it's funny because you've gifted me this game, which I've promised to go back and play it sometime, is Mass Effect Andromeda. I played that game 30 hours and then I dropped it because I just had an identity crisis at some point. But
I gifted you that?
you did gift me that.
Oh, was it? It was like it must have been like $2 on
Oh, it
Steam
was
or
like
something, right?
$2. Yeah, nobody
Okay,
wants that
okay.
game.
I
So
was everything. I was like, wait a minute. I would have never like physically mailed you that. I would have never
yeah,
spent the money to
yeah.
mail. Okay. Yeah,
But
I think I did it as a joke because I know how
yeah, you
much
did
like
it because it's
yeah
really cheap. But
yeah. Shout out
yeah,
to Ryochi
so
who like stands
yeah,
for
so
that
I've
game.
had a
So
couple game. I've actually haven't been dropping too much this year, but the two most recent I've dropped. So let me see. Oh yeah, so apologies to Connor here because he really wanted me to play a game called Tyranny. I'm not sure how you say it, but I just it's very similar to like a Baldur's Gate 2 like style, like that old school JR or
oh
not JR
CRPG. Yeah,
JRPG,
those
yeah.
are hardcore.
And I just was not like it's funny
Yeah.
because I loved the choices, the lore of the characters, but the combat just Baldur's Gate 3 spoiled me. It's gonna be hard for me to go back and play like the older style. Like the combat just is not fun. So I was just like, I can't sit through 40 hours of this. I'm sorry. And then the other
Okay.
one that did kind of hurt me because I do want to play more in this series. It's Monster Hunter Stories. And I
Hmm.
knew the first one is the most simple, more kiddie version. And it's just got the combat just got too simplistic for me.
Yeah.
Like there's not it's very much rock, paper, scissors combat, like fat or strong attack, fast attack, technical attack. That's all it is. Like you choose one. If it beats the other one, you're probably gonna win the fight or you're gonna get a good advantage. And I've heard they've expanded, and the story was just also not really going anywhere. So I've heard 2 and 3 are a lot better. So I do own two, so I'll probably check that out at some point. But
Okay.
yeah, those are my casualties from
Okay.
recent
So
days.
to yeah to give you a short break, let me get into what I've been playing very quickly, so you can have a little bit of a drink of water and refresh. I played Mouse PI for Hire. Um, that is that first person shooter with the rubber hose animation, kind of similar to Cuphead or old school Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie style. And I liked it quite a bit. I think what impressed me the most about it is there was the world and the story was actually fleshed out. You had your kind of your main story, but you also had your side stories that you pursued throughout the world as well that kind of interwoven and did a pretty good job of that, and it was paced very well. Didn't overstay its welcome. The boss fights were surprisingly fun. Um, some of the there was one boss fight. The boss itself kind of reminded me of Sly Cooper universe is what I'll
Ooh,
say. Kind of got some Sly Cooper vibes at times as well, and yeah, it touched on some pretty surprising more mature and adult themes. Plenty fun to play. It has its flaws, but I mean, the game was $30. I mean, I couldn't. It was great. One of the better values I've gotten for a day one release. So it was very
how
fun.
how long is it? 10 hours ish, or
I did most of the content. Let me double check here.
I am
Mouse.
very interested in getting it. That's probably going to be one that I'm going to pick up during this Steam sale this year because I want it on PC. I feel like that's a PC game
Yeah,
for
first
me.
person. Yeah, it's very much in that boomer shooter role. My Steam playtime says 13 hours, and I think
Yeah,
Steam is usually a little bit high, so probably like 12 ish. And I did like most of the content. Let me double
nice.
check here.
Yeah, that and Pragmata are like my Steam sale watchers for later this year.
Yeah, it says I did 50% of the achievements.
Okay.
But I did like all of, I did, obviously, I did all the main story and I completed all of the side stories as well. So, that's the thing too. There's a pretty good amount of secrets. And it doesn't fall victim to the traditional boomer shooter trap of like getting lost trying to find like the specific colorized key for the door.
Hmm.
It's a little bit more streamlined like that. So, um, another one I played is Sorrows, which is of course from Housemark, the same devs as Returnal, and I don't want to get too deeply into it. But kind of like with Returnal, I want to like genuinely, like really unabashedly love the game, but I'm not quite there. I liked it a lot, and in fact, I think I probably liked Saros more than most people that I've talked to or that
You're
I've
definitely
seen.
the most positive one I've heard. Everybody seems pretty disappointed about it, which I actually did pick it up too because I'm a recent Returnal player and I really liked
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, I'm not I think it does it is overall, it is almost exactly what I expected from what I had seen in trailers and what I've heard them talk about it. It does kind of fall victim to being a Sony first party game. There's a lot of
mm,
they add more characters, there's more dialogue between characters, and I'm just like it was done fine. Like the performances are okay and the dialogue is okay, but I feel like it should have been the storytelling should have been more kind of opaque the way Returnal was and
mm,
mysterious.
yeah.
And it had more of that. It had potential to do that because I found the world and the universe really cool and the environments were awesome. The environmental diversity is definitely a lot better in Saros. I feel like the bosses are better in Saros. They're more the bosses are more kinetic. Like in Returnal, they would tend to be more like, background skybox.
Mhm.
This one they're more mechanically demanding. They're more visually appealing, I think. And but yeah, I understand why people weren't as crazy about it. I mean, for it's I think at its core, it's still a roguelike and the runs are still like way too long. It would be cool to see them eventually do like a 3D Metroidvania because again, you kind of get that thing in Returnal where you get a new traversal,
Oh
ability
yeah.
as you progress throughout the game. Um, but I mean, the running, the movement, and the shooting are still as good as ever. They feel as good as ever. The weapons I feel like in Returnal were overall better. But Saros has two or three that are like really really fun to use. And I think overall, I know one point of discussion is that Saros is easier, and I would say that the actual moment to moment demand of the player is probably more challenging on its face in Saros, but it does have the skill tree to where you accrue currency like you kind of would in a roguelike to some degree in various forms or fashions. And you're able to, like they say, come back stronger. You can start off at like a higher proficiency level, or you can do perks where health drops more enemies. There's also a modifier thing where um, there's positive and negative modifiers, and you can't just do all positive modifiers. It's like a meter that you
Oh
can't
yeah.
overload, so you can do that as well. Um, but no, I liked it quite a bit. Where the story went was kind of whatever. I actually found Returnal story and themes to be a lot better and more complex and intriguing. But Saros definitely has much cooler visuals. That's definitely where I enjoyed the budget going more to. And the main kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, the first ending of the game is like super metal. It's awesome.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I'm looking
yeah, I
forward to
enjoyed it quite a bit.
trying it. I mean, the thing with me for Returnal even, like, I did enjoy the story, but I mainly just it was just fun to play. That was the main
Yeah.
reason I
Yeah,
liked
and
it, so
if that's all you're wanting from it, that's what you're gonna get in Saros.
which is
For
good.
sure. I think it's definitely faster paced than Returnal is as well. The arenas are bigger, I think. And yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit because I got what I wanted out of it despite some quibbles again. So and then I played the demo for The Adventures of Elliot, which is the new HD 2D
Oh, yeah,
game
that looks
from
good.
Square Enix. It's very much a Zelda like. I was very encouraged by what I played for the most part. It definitely kind of has the Zelda trapping of like you have the kind of Fi companion that
Oh,
yaps way too
yeah.
much,
Mhm.
but you can minimize that in a toggle in a setting toggle to minimize that. I'm a little bit the start was a little bit slow because there's a lot of characters who are talking back and forth to each other. There's a lot of kind of a JRPG thing. They still fall into that JRPG trapping, even though it is real time action combat. And it was the prologue demo, and the prologue itself was like 3-ish hours, which I felt was kind of long, but the prologue definitely ended on a really cool plot development. So I probably won't get it day one. I think it's coming out in a month or June
Yeah,
20
something like
something,
that.
21st. Yeah, I probably won't get it day one, but I'll definitely look to be checking it out. So
Same time as
um
Star Fox.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And granted, they're two different
Oh, way
Two
different.
entirely
Yeah.
different games. Oh yeah, I mean, and it's a kind of a given with Square Enix and HD2D. The visuals and the music are awesome. So,
Yep.
um, cool. What have you been playing?
So I've obviously recently I've definitely been more of a PC Nintendo fan, but
Nice,
with the announcement of Sony leaving PC, Rainick threw me a bone and sold me his PS5, gave me a good deal.
nice.
So I figured, why not? I'll embrace PlayStation again because I've always loved PlayStation. But the main reason I left is because, hey, you can get all their games on PC now. So why do I need a PS5? But, I came back. I started picking up some old games I missed. One of the first games I played is one that both you, Parrot, everybody's been was recommending to me, and that was Astrobot, because I loved obviously the Astro's Playroom, I think it's called, the that came with the PS5. But yeah, so I played that one. I loved it. Got the platinum. I did all the extra DLC challenges. Did you play like the hardest level? Because that one, it took me a good hour, 2 hours to beat it because it was tough.
That was the thing. I don't even remember if I got the plat in that game. I think I did.
I mean,
And
it's
because
not
I
that
think I pretty
hard.
much I
Yeah.
didn't do any of the additional levels that they added on later on after the
Okay.
release. I think I
Yep.
did one of them, but I'm pretty sure I did everything that was offered at launch.
Yeah, they added like a Christmas level, which is really cool.
Yeah, I should go back and in fact, I think maybe I gave my copy to my niece. I don't remember, but yeah, Astrobot was fun. What other? Did you have any other thoughts about
I
the
just
game?
thought, I mean, I know people kind of knock it for the difficulty, but I think it's more of I feel like some of the levels, like I don't know if you remember, like the PlayStation symbol levels, they were like really short. Those challenges were a little tougher, but I feel
Yeah,
like it was like, in terms of just exploration and collecting, it's top notch. Like, it's just fun to collect all the bots. The
yeah,
overworld fun, and it's like all the gimmicks. Nothing gets like abused and how much it gets used. Everything's like very well spaced out. They just did a great job. Like, all the levels, there was like one level I didn't love, and that was just because it's a water level, and I don't especially love those. But I feel like pretty much every level was fresh with ideas, which you don't always see. So I can see why it won Game of the Year back in 2024. Yeah,
yeah. It was for me. It was good to see a company, and again, I don't know if maybe who knows if they originally planned to do a full game before that pack in whatever it was
yeah,
PS5.
Astro's Playroom or
Yeah,
whatever.
but if nothing else, it was cool to see a company like follow up on something that resonated, kind
Yeah.
of organically. Like, holy crap, this packing game is actually really good. It could be its own game, and sure enough, we got one. For me, I felt like the game kind of lost steam a little bit creatively because there was that one level where you like shrink down in size and like
Oh yeah, the mouse.
increase. And I don't, yeah, and I don't know. And that was like really early on in the game. I don't know that it ever surpassed that. And I felt like if anything, they didn't reuse that one enough. They reused
I
other
think they only used it
mechanics.
once.
Yeah, and again, maybe it was just too demanding for more than one level, but I felt like they overused some other mechanics, and yeah, it was. I mean, there was like one or two levels where it took me more than like 4 attempts.
Yeah, it's a little too
But yeah,
challenging.
hearing the people complain, I'm like, you guys just don't play. I'm sorry, you just don't play a lot of platformers.
Of course, the standout
Um,
levels, like, the throughout, like, it got me to play Ape Escape, which is a game I'm
yeah,
playing right now because I never played that before, and, they had
yeah,
the God of War one, Uncharted, but the boss fights also were excellent. Like, that's one
yeah,
thing that, people knock, rightly so, for 3D platformers like Mario or even DK. Like, the boss fights are usually very meh, but,
yeah,
Astrobot did a good job with that.
yeah. And I think DK Bonanza. I mean, I don't want to go too
Oh, yeah,
far
it
off
did,
topic, but yeah,
especially
it
the
did.
last boss.
The last two, yeah, the last one especially. What else was I going to say about Astrobot? I don't think. Yeah, I would guess they're going to be doing another one.
I hope so.
I think it
Yeah.
sold a few million. It probably sold enough, and they're based over there in Japan, so the labor costs aren't as high.
It did win the Jeffs, right? So the Game of the
Yeah,
Award,
it won
Game
Game of
of
the
the
Year. I'll
Year.
need to go back. I don't know if I would have given it my Game of the Year, but I'll need to go back and double check
That was
what the nominees
Rebirth's
were.
year,
Oh,
and it was also the next game I played, which was Unicorn Overlord, which I had played
yeah,
that one when it came out. That was my Game of the Year for 2024, but
yeah,
I'm like, "You know what? I'll pick it up on PS5 and get the platinum and play it on expert, and it was great again. Like, it just, that
Nice.
Vanillaware art style, man. It's just they
Yeah.
I know this game bankrupt them, but hopefully they can do another game in a bit. Because even like the president came out and was like, "Yeah, I had to use my own money because we ran out." So, but
Yeah, that's
you can
unheard
definitely.
of.
I don't think you've played it. I'm guessing
No.
it's a really long kind of niche game, but you can definitely tell at the end, like, there's like there's five major continents, and the fourth one is way less fleshed out than the other four. So you can be like, oh, this is where the
They
money
cut it
started.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like not as big and not as in depth, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
still a great game. I loved it. So
And you did get the plat?
I did get the plat.
How
There's no
many hours did that?
difficulty.
I can imagine a game like that is pretty grueling for a plat or
It
no?
no, not really. It took me
Interesting.
66 hours, and I played on
Okay.
Tactician, which is one of the hardest difficulty for 90% of the game. But
Oh,
my first playthrough on Switch, which I didn't watch as much dialogue and stuff since I already knew at this time. That one took me 90 hours the first time. So yeah,
wow.
it's a beefy game. But yeah,
Nice.
66 this time. So, and yeah, then the
Nice.
only other one I wanted to highlight was I started Ape Escape just today. I think I'm already like halfway through, but the
Nice.
controls are a little wonky in it, I gotta say, because like, everything's tied to the stick, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. Like, I just like trying to catch the apes, obviously, and it's funny. I love the old janky like PS1 dialogue and cutscenes. It's so funny.
Yeah, so it's cool to see kind of developers evolve over time. Like those early PS1 games, they maybe don't age the best, but you can kind of see how they were trying their best to adapt to 3D environments and different hardware and everything.
Yeah,
So yeah, and the Astrobot level was very fun. I didn't
it
expect
was.
that. Oh yeah, that reminded me. What I didn't expect, to go back a little bit for Astrobot before we move on, is the Loco Roco level. Like I
Oh
couldn't believe.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I would never have expected.
Yeah, I'd like to be one of Sony's top, because they had, was it Ape Escape? They had God of War, Horizon, Uncharted. Not Sly
Yeah,
Cooper. Sly needs some love, but or Ratchet.
yeah,
I figured Ratchet would get in before Loco Roco, but what it was a fun
yeah.
level.
Well, I feel like I remember thinking about this, and I feel like they probably did one for you, one for me. Like Loco Roco is like very Japanese, so I'm sure like they're like, hey, the
Right?
the team, what is their names, Team Asobi, right? It's
Yeah,
like, hey, what,
Sophie.
you guys have to do these franchises, but then you can pick three or four more.
I'm
So like I
guessing
think
they let them pick Ape Escape and Loco Roco, and they're like, but you got to do Uncharted, Horizon, God of War.
yeah.
Probably forgetting one
Didn't they
other.
do something for Patapon as well? I'm
They
trying to remember.
had them in there, but like not, they didn't do a level for it. It
Oh,
was
okay, not
just
a
like,
level.
I
Yeah.
mean, they had Patapon bots, but
Okay, that's right. I couldn't remember if there was like a 2D section of Patapon, but no, yeah, hopefully a sequel. They have plenty of other IP to mine.
yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like Sly would be perfect
it's funny
for
because that was probably my favorite level though, was the casino level. I don't know if you remember that, but both
yeah,
Sly and Joker from Persona 5
that's
were,
appropriate. Yeah,
and
at
yeah,
least they
it was very fitting.
yeah, it's very very appropriate.
It's funny too, the hardest level in the game, the robot you get for beating that is Sephiroth.
That's fitting. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm okay, yeah, I do remember that ending now of getting Sephiroth. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good game. I would think they're going to do a sequel, but or maybe they're gonna do an Ape Escape. I don't know.
Maybe they'll
I
remake
just
it like they do everything else.
yeah, yeah, maybe they go. I just like, and I like that Astrobot is a counter to what Sony has traditionally done for first
Uh,
party for a while. So it's good to have a variety in your ecosystem. So, um, speaking of variety, we are here to get down to the big juicy meat of this burger of an episode, in that we are here to discuss Mario Rabbids. We are going to be discussing both games, Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope. And I think honestly, we're probably going to freely go back and forth between the two. We'll try to specify, what's in which games, because they're really, I mean, this is at its heart is, well, not at its heart, but it's very much a Nintendo game as well, in that there really isn't much, story spoilers to
yeah.
emphasize. So that kind of frees us up to discuss more about like the levels and the characters and the mechanics and stuff that you use. So we'll be talking a lot about that. But what I wanted to do is, I wanted to go into a little bit as to how does Ubisoft partner up with Nintendo to make a tactics game? Like, how in the world does that happen? So, I'll yap a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about the reveal of the game, which was unfortunately leaked. I think like literally the day before. I think
Yeah.
some key art leaked or something. But so Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle released in 2017, followed by, excuse me, Kingdom Battle released on August 29th, 2017, followed by Sparks of Hope on October 20th, 2022. So probably about average for sequel turnaround in this day and age, 4 or 5 years. This was
Yep.
about just over 5 years. So that's about right. Yeah, even a little tactics game from Ubi and Nintendo. But this we're going to go all the way back to 2013. Ubisoft internally were exploring the future of the mighty Rabbit series, that the very highly in demand Rabbit series from the fans, and they actually started talking to Nintendo about ideas, but mostly party style games, which seems kind of silly. Like, why would you approach Nintendo about doing a party game? They already do literal Mario Party, like the
Uh-huh.
party games. It's like talking to Activision about doing a first person shooter. It's like, well, we already do
Right.
Call of Duty, right? So, but towards the end of 2013, Ubisoft assembled a small group to explore what they called unconventional game ideas with non-traditional genres, and this was headed up by the eventual game director Davide Soliani, and he actually presented 13 ideas. Um, and what they eventually decided on was turn-based tactic strategy game, because neither franchise, being Rabbids or Nintendo, really had a history with the franchise. So credit to both of them for really taking a really different and unique turn with where to go with this project. So it was presented to Miyamoto, who famously, his primary rule for this project was gameplay could not be centered around jumping, because again, like, that's what
Mm.
Mario does, and let's be honest, no one, Nintendo, Ubisoft, or anyone else is not going to do it as well as Nintendo. So, and him being very much a cultural thing, he was hesitant about the use of guns in games, but they were able to quell his fears with using like non-human characters and making it very cartoonish and everything. So Nintendo wanted the game to truly stand out and be different. Um, so the game was designed to be more fast-paced, and we can kind of go into, maybe Straw can go into that versus other kind of tactics games. Wanted to stand out and be different, and he wanted it to be, as I said, he wanted to be more fast-paced, and obviously with Nintendo, they wanted it to be more colorful than most turn-based strategy games. I'm thinking like XCOM, which is more kind of
Gritty.
gritty military, right? So understandable. That's an understandable expectation for Nintendo. They don't want to do like a kill zone, right? Um, so yeah. So again, Kingdom Battle released in 2017. Sparks of Hope were released in 2022. And a bit of trivia before we get into Straw's kind of personal background and his moment of realizing that these games were real, or the Kingdom Battle was real. The Kingdom Battle composer is a man by the name of Grant Kirkhope, and I don't know, Straw, if you
Oh
recognize that
yeah,
name. Yeah,
legend.
yeah,
Banjo.
composed GoldenEye, Banjo Kazooie, and Tui, Perfect Dark, Viva Pinata. So he's very famous, and he has a very eclectic albumography, if you will. And
Recently
these
in
sparks,
Yooka-Laylee as well,
yeah,
Yoko Replay, and of course famous for the DK rap.
of course, the all-time greatest. And these Sparks of Hope composers, uh, Grant Kirkhope, also Gareth Coker, who's famous for the Ori games, which have magnificent
Ooh,
scores, Halo Infinite, Prince of Persia, Lost Crown, Absalom, and another name contributed to the Sparks of Hope soundtrack. Do you know?
I don't know, no.
A person by the name of Yoko Shimomura,
Ooh, yeah, I didn't
which
know
I have
that.
no idea how that happened, but
Yeah.
she's of course famous for Kingdom Hearts, a myriad of Square Enix
Of
projects, and
JRPGs. I thought maybe you were gonna say David Wise. I'm like, maybe
no,
there's
no,
a
I had to do a double take.
connection.
I'm like, are you sure Yoko Shima?
Yeah.
Like, what? I think she contributed like one or two tracks, but she of course also recently contributed to the awesome Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, which I'm always going to shout out at any opportunity. Okay, with that out of the way, some background stuff. We're going to get to probably one of the more exciting and intriguing and sections of each episode of this episode that I'm most intrigued by. So to kind of get a little bit of background, Kingdom Battle was leaked at like the 11th hour with like I think some key art and
It's like a
some.
PowerPoint, wasn't it? Like they
Yeah, I
had
think
this
so. Some like official
PowerPoint,
key art, yeah, leaked and like the like the kind of a blown up version of the box art, and we're like, what the hell? The people, I thought it was a lot of people thought it was a joke. Like, what?
right?
Mario's holding guns? What is this? So, and then it was revealed at was it at E3 or was it Summer Games?
It was at E3. I think it
E3.
opened Ubi's show, if I
Yeah, it
remember
opened Ubi's
right.
show, and I'll never forget they panned to the director Davide Sul. No one
Danny,
knew who he was.
uh-huh.
He's this kind of big, burly looking, goateed guy. And he was like openly in tears, sobbing,
Yeah,
and I was like, man, that's really cool. But then I was like, man, what's this guy's just like straight up bawling and crying? But I also realized he's Italian, so like they're very emotional people. I
right.
mean, I know I may not seem that way, but I'm just repressed emotionally, so that's fine. But it was because I'm sure it was quite a journey working with Nintendo and being able to do that, and being Italian is just a double emotional moment. But Straw, I want to get your story of what your reaction was to one of your all-time favorite IP combined with one of your all-time favorite genres. So I'll let you take it away. Of
Yeah, as everybody knows, I love the Rabbids. They're like my favorite. No,
course,
that's Mario,
everyone's
obviously.
favorite. Yeah,
I remember, I don't know if maybe there was another leak before, the key art leak, because I remember Game Explain or some YouTube channel talking about the PowerPoint slides. And I remember like hearing about it, and I'm just like why would like obviously I love tactics games, but I'm
yeah,
just I don't want to be with the rabbits. Like how stupid is this gonna be? Like it's just
yeah,
kind of like I had no hope in it. But then
yeah,
once they showed that presentation, Miyamoto came out. They had like the replica guns or that
yeah.
they
That's true.
used
Yeah, I
in
remember
the
that.
game, and it was yeah, the CEO of Ubi and Miyamoto. I think back
Yeah,
to back they went like back to back with the
yeah,
guns and
yeah,
all that. But once I actually saw it, when number one, the first gameplay video we saw of it, the graphics look crazy good. Especially you got to remember this is first year of the Switch. We didn't get Mario Odyssey yet. Like we had seen obviously the preview, but and then what
yeah. It
like
was
we
like a
had
month,
Breath of the
just over a
Wild was
month.
a Wii U game,
Yeah, it was
obviously.
just over a month before Mario Odyssey, I think, because Mario
Yeah,
Odyssey was what
that
20th
came out
October.
in October.
Yeah,
So we hadn't really seen like a crazy like graphically style like like you see the power, and that's one thing
yeah,
that I think got me excited because you saw the presentation. Like Nintendo's not known for their cutting edge cutscenes, and you
yeah.
see the cutscenes for this game. It's like wow, like the Mushroom Kingdom looks amazing. Like I'd love to play just a regular Mario platformer here, but yeah, then I saw the game. As soon as I saw the gameplay was XCOM, I'm like, oh, I'm getting. I think I went and pre-ordered it as soon as you could. My friends were like, "Are you sure?" I didn't buy the collector's edition that came with
Yeah.
Rabbid Mario with a gun or something. But I'm just like, yeah, I want to play this, and yeah, because it got revealed in June, came out in August, and yeah, I was impressed. So yeah, I when I first heard about it, I was not anticipating much, but then once I actually saw it at E3, I'm like, okay, this could be good, even though everybody else that was watching it with me is like, no, it's stupid. I'm like, okay, well, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, and to be clear, the game, yeah, both games do look really good. Like Sparks of Hope looks really, really
It
good too. It's
does.
very impressive. They're both running on Ubisoft's proprietary Snowdrop engine, which runs the Division games, the Avatar game, Star Wars Outlaws, of course, South Park, Fractured but Whole, which is also awesome. But yeah, say what you want about Ubisoft's games, but their tech is looks really, really good. And it's yeah, it was surreal to kind of see a bit of a glow up like that for um the Mario, which is not known for graphical fidelity necessarily, but it still does a good job of looking like Mario. Like it's still like immediately identifiable. It's literally like Mario was all the
Yep.
assets were dropped right in there seamlessly. So
It's like what you'd imagine like a true HD Mario game would look like. Because I mean, what was the last we saw? We had Mario 3D World, which was I mean it looked good, but that's more like a grid style.
yeah,
I guess Mario Galaxy was the last like big 3D Mario, and that was on the
yeah,
Wii. So I mean it looks good, but it's like
yeah.
480p. So
Yeah, I guess like Bowser's Fury would maybe be like technically the most recent like 3D Mario. It's like
yeah,
like newer assets and stuff. Um, but yeah, is there anything else I can think of? Yeah, I think like even if that game even if those games didn't exist and they still leak today, I think people still wouldn't believe them. Like it's just a joke,
No.
you know? Like people always come out with really fake joke leaks about that Super Mario Titans that,
Oh,
some
yeah,
people
yeah,
do
they
really
I've
convincing.
seen that one recently, and you gotta
Yeah.
remember too, back then, Nintendo didn't really do well, they didn't do things with third parties much because the Wii
No.
U, nobody wanted to be on, and they
No.
don't give Mario to just anybody. I know, and then they gave Star Fox to Ubi again to do, Starlink, but
Yeah.
they don't typically do partnerships, let alone with a Western studio, so
Yeah.
that was really shocking.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. I feel like if you saw Ubi and Nintendo come out on stage again for something, it would still be surreal, even with
Yeah.
both of these games. But yeah, it's very impressive that we got two games out of this. I think if you told me that, like, just one of them, I think is a minor miracle in and of itself. But to do another one is also awesome. So
Yeah, the bad thing is I don't think we're gonna get a third one because the studio shut down, and also, like, I don't know
yeah,
if you remember this, but the first game obviously sold really well because it came out the first year. I don't know, I don't have the sales numbers, but I wanna say it was over 2,000,000 sold,
yeah,
and
yeah. I
the
don't. Yeah, so I don't think they would have done a sequel if it hadn't sold
you're
well.
right,
So
and well,
yeah,
and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that, Ubi wanted to do a second one, and Nintendo's like, you should wait for the Switch 2, or I've heard, like, to bring out the next one.
oh yeah, that's right.
And then
Yeah, I think
Ubi's like,
that's
no, we want to get it out as soon as we can. And then, Sparks of Hope didn't do very well. So then
no.
now the projects did. So it's like they should, if they would have waited and launched it, what year did you say it came out? 2022?
Yeah, I think the Nintendo was pushing them to make it a Switch 2 launch title, which I think
Yeah,
would have
they
been a
were.
really
And
cool
I mean, that
idea.
would have been great. It would have definitely sold way better. But, and I
Yeah,
think, like, obviously we'll get into the differences, but there are some things I think are better in Sparks of Hope. But overall,
yeah.
I do prefer the first game.
Yeah, yeah. I totally understand that, you being more of a like a tactics, hardcore tactics
XCOM.
purist and stuff. But yeah, it's surreal that these games exist and they're both end up being as good as they are. And yeah, the studio was Ubisoft Milan. Did they get straight up? I'm trying to think. Did the
I
whole
don't know if
studio
this
get shut down? I don't think the whole
I
studio got
know the
shut down. Maybe.
director I thought the director got
Yeah, he
let
left.
go, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
thought
he
the whole
left.
studio. I mean, Ubi's famous for because I mean, another game that I think we both
Yeah,
love is that new Prince of Persia. What's it called?
Lost Crown.
Yeah, Lost Crown. I love
Yeah.
that game. It's so good, and that studio got shut down, I thought too. So because it
Did they
didn't
get shut
sell,
down?
or
Let
I think
me.
they might have got put on a different project or something.
Yeah, that could be right. Yeah, that Ubi is just Disney. Yeah, I'm on
All
their website. I'm on their page right now. They have so many subsidiaries. It's
all
insane.
their games that I love don't do well. Like, well, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, but they might be remaking Rayman Legends, which is a great game.
Yeah, that's pretty much leaked. I mean, down to like pricing and
Yeah,
everything. It's like they're
but
adding more content. I
and
think they're adding like online
yeah,
co-op and
so
MP
I'll be there
multiplayer.
for that because I love Rayman
Yeah.
Origins, Rayman Legends, and we both love
Yeah.
Child of Light, Valiant Hearts. Those are all great games, but
Yeah,
they just
they need
don't
to make another
sell.
Child of Light's what they really need to do. That game is like
Yeah,
so good, man. Beautiful game. But yeah, we could be here all day on
you're
Ubisoft's
right.
mismanagement. Like a whole episode on that probably. Um, okay, so yeah, we got your personal background. So we're gonna get into like the comparing the two games. Again, it's gonna be pretty much just all gameplay. There isn't really much
Yeah,
story to get into. It's kind of getting right into the meat potatoes. So I want to start off by kind of comparing the high level gameplay of both games. What I have here is a single note on my end that you'll take it away because you're more the expert anyway. But Kingdom Battle, which is again the first one, that's more of a grid based tactics,
yep.
correct? Whereas Sparks of Hope is more of, I don't know what you want to, I don't know how it's referred to, but it's more of like you can place the character freely within any kind of area, a cone, sort of cone area of movement.
Yeah, it's like free
Um,
movement or something. It's funny because the
yeah,
newest Fire Emblem also did that now. Like that was the first time they did that and
yeah,
engage. But
yeah,
yeah, I think the big difference, which both these games do, I think the big difference compared to other tactics games, the first game is obviously more like XCOM, like you move in a grid, you
yeah,
try to get behind cover, and
yeah.
then you have a percentage, which it's not as bad as XCOM, where if you can have a 95% chance to hit, you're probably going to miss an
Yeah,
XCOM, but
yeah.
it's not quite
It's not
that brutal.
sadistic. Yeah, it's not sadistic.
But I
Yeah,
think, and one thing they did really well, I feel like compared to other tactics games, is there's a lot more focus on movement and like jumping, which it's funny because you said like they didn't want them to focus on jumping, but there are a lot of like you jump on enemies, you jump to higher platforms,
Yeah.
but in a lot of ways, like because I played Kingdom Battle recently and I tried to play it on the hardest difficulty most of the time. The one thing you really want to focus on is like your movement area and like how many foes you can damage. Like you run into them and you do some
Yeah.
damage, and then before you go to cover. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I don't think any other tactics games really has done, because with in XCOM, and I played Gears Tactics. I have never played that Mutant Road Zero, which is also very XCOM. But you mostly just want to, get to cover, hunker down, do your Overwatch site, or get where the Mario,
Yeah.
especially the first game, and the second game is also like this, but you really want to move around the whole map as much as you can, whether you want to try to damage the enemies along the way, or you jump on them to extend your movement range to get to
Yeah.
another area. So I feel like movement in this game, which is fitting for Mario, is far more of a focus than in other tactics games that are similar to this.
Yeah, true. And to be clear about the jumping, you can't just freely jump like
Right.
like it would in a platformer. You have to either jump off some type of like designated geometry, or more commonly, you jump by vaulting yourself off of a character
Yeah, your
in the
teammates, like,
vicinity as
I
well.
still I have that in my vision in my head where they'll get on their back and, they put their feet up in there and they spring you up. It's
Yeah.
great. Like, either Mario will do that or one of the rabbits. Yeah, it's great.
The animations are very good. They put so much thought into all like the various character animations and expressions and stuff. Um, but yeah, because when I first fired up Sparks of Hope, that kind of, I don't know, again, I don't know what you want to call it, like the free placing in the cone area kind of threw me
Yeah.
for a loop for a second. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, and still to this day, thinking about both, I'm not sure which one I prefer. I don't know. I feel like the grid based is more like aesthetically pleasing, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
The
You
one
know?
thing the one thing that I feel like in Spark, like, when you have the free movement, you can actually, like, position your you can kinda, like, move before you like, the grid one, you're kinda locked when you move, like, you
Yeah,
can't really judge. Where the free movement, it's kinda nice because you can kinda, line up your characters in a huddle and then figure out where everybody's range is, and so that is the one benefit. I don't
yeah,
know which one I actually like more, but grid does feel satisfying.
yeah. It definitely does. So yeah, there's the grid base versus the cone areas, and then let me see what else. Yeah, so we covered the jumping, which again is really fun because not only can you jump and then you land, you also have more designated movement area after you land. So like if
Yeah.
you want to get to a higher platform, which very often, if not always, either gives you a greater chance of damage or even adds more damage to your attack. Based on your character that's moving, you can have varying ranges of movement after you jump and get to a higher ground, or maybe get over like an obstacle or something,
You also
to be
really
able
wanna
to
use
move.
a lot of pipes, which is another
Yes.
Mario, like, because the pipes extend your movement area, and I think
Yep.
that's one thing the first time I played, I didn't really catch on to that right away, but it's like,
Yep.
if you make use of the pipes, it really helps you.
Yeah, and the pipes are the same way in that you have an additional area of movement
Yeah.
after you get out of the pipe, which you can improve with upgrades in both games, as well. So yeah, it does a really good job of being a totally different kind of moment to moment style of game, but also I feel like it fits so well within Nintendo, even though it's not
Yeah.
developed by Nintendo either. Go figure. Um, so yeah, was there anything for now? Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, like kind of broadly with the gameplay? And we'll get into like the structure and the levels and the characters and the boss fights and the mission types and stuff. But at a very elementary level, um, yeah, both I'd say both games you have basically. So you basically have your movement, you have your attack, and then you have your ability.
Yeah,
Um,
special of some
yeah,
kind.
special. Are other tactics games that kind of similar approach to each
It's
turn, or
pretty similar because usually
okay?
you have, like, a couple action points, and it's, like, the same thing once you move and then you shoot once, then you're stuck where you moved. You can't usually, unless you have a special ability. Then you have like
Yeah,
snipers usually that can not move as much. But yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty accurate, I would say, in terms of the gunplay, I guess you would say, and special abilities.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is each character that you're using, no matter which character combo you use, is that they all have a different type of weapon, and they all have different types of attacks and abilities. So it's not like you're going to have like two, close range machine gunners necessarily, and then one
Right.
sniper. They're all going to be like maybe one will have a shotgun type weapon, the other one will have like a handgun, and the other one will have like a sniper. So no matter your loadout, it's always going to be you're always going to be forced into some type of um, variety.
Yeah,
So
and the first game they make you always have Mario in the party and always
yeah,
have a
that was
Rabbid, which is kind
yeah.
of annoying. Where Sparks of Hope they let you so you don't have to do that, which is nice. But
I'm
yeah,
trying to remember. I'm trying to remember one of the games. It would not let you combine some of the characters together.
it's
Um,
probably the first one because you, like I said, you always had to have Mario was always in the party, and then you had to
yeah,
you always had to have one rabbit at
maybe
least.
that's what it was. I just didn't put one and one together. Yeah, I'll be honest. I wasn't crazy about walking you to Mario with
Yeah,
Kingdom
because
Battle.
Mario is not like Luigi. I mean, I love Luigi, but Luigi was
Yeah,
always my
he's so
favorite.
clutch. Yeah,
Oh,
he's so
he's
clutch
the
in the game because he's a
sniper.
sniper in both. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and Mario is just like I mean he's like how he is in Mario Kart, where he's like the generic, balanced
yep,
character, kind of like the old reliable.
yep,
He's not necessarily a
exactly.
healer or a big damage dealer. I mean, he can do damage, but yeah. So yeah, that kind of did frustrate me, and I was really relieved to see that they did that in the
Yep,
sequel. Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of like the very very most broad overview of the gameplay. We'll get into um, more meatier stuff in a bit, but I want to talk about comparing the structure of the two because that's something I'm always intrigued about with really any type of game, regardless of
yep.
genre. I'm like, okay, what is the structure of the game? So like when I mentioned Mouse PI for Hire, you have your really small hub base that you go around and do upgrades in, and then you get in your car and you travel around the big overworld, kind of similar to what you did in Cuphead. So,
Oh, yep,
so in Kingdom Battle, the first game is more. I think it's more appropriate for the game because it is more of a kind of like straightforward, lean and mean.
yep.
I would say it's almost like Mario 3D World, kind of an
It is
analog. I would
very, yeah,
say,
it's very like there are paths you can go off like to do puzzles, but it's pretty much
yeah,
like everything's like a straight line
yeah.
through, and it gets you where you need to go.
Yeah, it's all centered around this massive. Like it's Peach's castle in the middle, right? Which you can't even go in. So you're literally just
Right.
going around Peach's castle, and so all the levels are going to be there. And I do like that the puzzles are like right there in the overworld. You can just go walk seamlessly
Yep.
into doing like an environmental puzzle. It's really good. And then the Sparks of Hope one, I feel is, for better or for worse, it's more Ubisofty, where there's different actual
Exactly what I
worlds
was
that you
gonna
go to,
say.
which
Yeah.
oddly enough, it does feel kind of more modern 3D Mario, if you will. 3D World was kind of like the 2D sort of thing blown up into like a 3D perspective. But
Yeah.
Sparks of Hope is definitely more 3D Mario, where you kind of go to these worlds and there's more. It is more Ubisofty too, where there's a lot of map icons that you go around and do stuff in the overworld. And there's a little bit of Zelda in there too, I think, because you go into like actual dungeons and you
Yep.
have to traverse them. So there is more of a sense of adventure, if you will, with Sparks of Hope. But I understand why people were maybe a little bit disappointed because it's not the like pure lean and mean, straightforward kind of go to this area from one area to the next, like Kingdom Battle is. Was there
Yeah.
any? What were some things that you wanted to point out from both as terms of the structure?
Well, yeah, so for Sparks of Hope, I feel like it kinda got too messy at some
Hmm.
areas, like, there's just too much, like, junk going on. The one
Yeah,
thing I did like in it was, you had usually, like, one central character who'd open up the plot when you get there and be like, "Oh, can you do this?" Like the giant merman guy, like, in the first area in Sparks of Hope.
yeah,
Where but I did like and yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot more going on in Sparks of Hope as far as like the story and world, like in each mini area. Where Kingdom Battle, you're pretty much just other than the Ghost World, which I did like surprisingly, but I feel like you're just pretty much going from battle to battle. Like you'll find occasional, sometimes you'll get like cutscenes from the Rabbids and the Mario characters doing something weird, or Bowser Jr. shows up with that rabbit who's changing everybody. But I feel like I almost do prefer that because I feel like in Sparks of Hope, I just kind of got overwhelmed by like I felt like I was in an open world Ubi game. Like, oh no, there's these icons with these enemies, but really
yep.
you don't need to fight these enemies. They're just like randos. So I feel like I would have liked Sparks of Hope if it was a little more, I guess, held back. Like I think they went too far with it as far as the open world.
Yeah, it really impressed me that it's like, oh, they definitely this is definitely more of a bigger budget title, which I
Yeah.
was impressed by on its face. I mean, what's funny is the kind of opening tutorial level of Sparks of Hope could have almost been like a final level. Like it's this big epic fight on like a
Yeah.
giant space snake. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is like a finale, you know? I was expecting it to like go do that thing where it like jumps back into time, you know, but
Right.
yeah, it's a very cinematic. I think Kingdom Battle does more like fixed camera work, which I think is has its own kind of appeal, like when you're going from area to area, the way the
Yeah.
camera moves and the perspective is really good. But yeah, I agree. Sparks of Hope can be kind of overwhelming to the point where it's like you get that sort of Ubisoft open world thing where it's like, okay, I'm ready to move on and just do like the main
Uh-huh.
even though the main path still kind of has you hopping around different parts of each world. But yeah, for better or for worse, it definitely feels more into like the bigger budget trappings, kind of like what I alluded to with Saros earlier. Um yeah, I think that the I'm trying to think of I think that makes me like the kind of environmental puzzles in Kingdom Battle more as well, since they're kind of just like right there in the environment, kind of like as you're going along the
Yeah.
path of the level. Sparks of Hope has some, but I feel like you kind of again in an Ubisoft way, you kind of need to go out of your way within the world, which is a
Yeah.
little bit annoying to be able to do them because I really love puzzles in games where they're kind of they're really good change of pace. But
And Kingdom
um,
Battle felt more like a Metroidvania in a way, because a lot of the like some you'd come across puzzles like you couldn't do them until you had beat the boss of that
yeah,
world and got the ability and then came back, and then you also had, I don't know if you did too many of the challenge levels like in the first game, because some of those were hard, like especially if you played on like there was like 10 to 12 missions after you beat each
yeah,
world that you could do like a harder difficulty.
yeah. Because I think more often than not, or maybe even all of them, they would lock you to two specific characters that you
Yep,
would
yep.
do.
Which I kinda
So
like that,
I did like
honestly.
that too. It's like, hey, we're going to
Yeah,
throw you a wrinkle, you know, in this. It's like, well, it's like you kind of need to be good at all of them, which I
yep,
feel we'll get into a little bit more of this with the characters, but Kingdom Battle, I think you need to be more thoughtful about your loadout because I think it is a more
yep,
challenging game. So yeah, I think there's not much else with the structure. I think just due to the bigger levels in Sparks of Hope, it allows them to have more of an identity because they feel like a more
right.
fleshed out environment world. But I think Kingdom Battle does a really good job of making each level feel distinct, even though it is very linear. So like let me bring up the levels here. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
because I
see.
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
if we wanna get
worlds.
into the levels, like, Kingdom Battle's like the forest level, the ice world, the desert world,
Yeah,
Bowser's the lava world, like, and the
yeah,
ghost world, like,
yeah.
they're very much like Mario-themed world, where Kingdom Bat or not, where Sparks of Hopes is more like there's, like, the beach area, like, of the first planet. They have, like, more of a planet approach, I feel like.
Yeah, more of an actual like actual Mario worlds that you
Right.
would go to. So yeah, I think both of ours was the spooky level in the first one was our favorite, right?
Yep, yep, definitely.
Yeah, that
I
was
gotta look
really
at
really fun.
Sparks of Hope to see what even I actually don't mind the first. That's the first one's one of the most memorable because it's like the beach.
Yeah, it does feel like very much the most Mario, which I think kind of makes sense as the first.
I feel like, you know what, I did really like Terra Flora. That was like the really plant heavy one. Do you remember that one? That's like there's a lot of the bridges I feel like would open up when
Yeah,
you
that was
expand
cool.
the
That was
plant.
very Zelda too, because I had like the
Yeah.
corruption purple stuff, like in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah,
But yeah, I think that
yeah,
was my
that one was very
favorite
good.
from there. But I mean, I feel like definitely Sparks of Hope would win in this category because, again, we did really like the Boo world and or the Ghost world and Kingdom Battle, but the other worlds are just very generic for the
Yeah,
most.
and I meant to say this earlier too. I feel like if you're like brand new to tactics games, like pretty much I was, I played a little bit of them. I would say actually start with Sparks of Hope because it kind of eases you into it. It's an easier game.
It is
It's
easier, yeah.
not as demanding. and it also kind of soft. I don't want to say like kind of soft serves tactics to you because it also does it in more of like a 3D Mario or 3D Zelda package where you're going to kind of get that sense of adventure with it. And then if you liked the tactics gameplay and you want more of that, that's more like challenging and restrictive and demanding, I would say definitely go to Kingdom Battle.
Yeah,
One
which
thing I meant to
we'll
go
talk
ahead.
about this in a bit, but yeah, I mean the characters and abilities, you have a lot bigger toolkit in Sparks of Hope than you do in Kingdom Battle because you have a lot
Yeah,
more variety. Like you have the star spirits or the loom. I can't remember what they're called. They're the Lumas, but they're the rabbit Lumas.
yeah, rapidly. Yeah, they
But
even turned the
they
Mario
give you a
Galaxy
lot. Yeah,
people
they
into.
give you a lot more options, and you have a lot more since you have a lot more character flexibility. Where Kingdom Battle is more like, all right, we're gonna make you have to solve this, basically.
Yeah, yeah. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, I think the one you mentioned it earlier, but I think in Kingdom Battle, I found backtracking annoying because I don't think there was really like a proper
Yeah, it was
fast
kind
travel
of
within the
a
level. You had to physically backtrack through the level, if I recall, right?
Yeah, you
There
could,
was no
like
checkpoints that you could
yeah,
travel
you
to.
could, like, skip to the certain missions if you found them,
Yeah,
like, the hidden ones, but, yeah, it
yeah,
was kind of a pain to
yeah.
since
It
yeah,
was.
like, your Sparks of Hope, it's like a planet you can freely walk to,
Yeah, it's more like a hub, and there's
yeah,
multiple points you can travel to and
where
stuff. Yeah,
Kingdom Battle's like, you gotta follow this path, and if you're past, like, all the way up at mission 8, then you're gonna have to try to walk the whole way there, basically.
yeah, yeah. That was one thing I did find frustrating because I really enjoyed Kingdom Battle. I'm like, oh, that's the one knock. It's like it's kind of discouraging you from going back. And like you said,
Yeah,
getting the Metroidvania, it's like, oh, I have this ability to break open this block or
but
open
it's
this
kind
one
of a
barrier.
pain and boring to go back, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because but there would often be like, well, we'll get into more of this in a bit, but there would often be like a really good reward, like a new weapon or something
Oh,
in Kingdom
yeah.
Battle. But um, yeah, I can't think of anything else for the kind of the structure. So yeah, we did the levels and the environments. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, you mentioned it with the Terra Flora in Sparks of Hope. This again, it's they're more bigger, they're more expansive, they're more of a sense of scale with how you traverse them. There's more like what you would consider proper dungeons that you go into, like in a Zelda game. So it's definitely more of that. That's why I think if you're new to tactics games, I think Sparks of Hope would be better to start with. And yeah,
There were
it's
actually, like, side quests too, right? Like, there'd be,
yeah,
like, NPCs that were like, "Hey, can you kill 3 Goombas? Because I hate Goombas," where
yeah.
you didn't get that in Kingdom Battle.
No, no, you definitely did it. And there's a if I remember, Sparks of Hope has an actual proper numbered leveling system, right? I
Yeah,
don't
they
think Kingdom
do
Battle does. Yeah.
now.
Again, that's like an
Yeah.
Ubisoft thing, but that never really bothered me either because you're always like
No, I
keeping
don't
up
it's
with.
fine, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I'm trying to remember. I don't think it does any level gating either. So I think if you go back, the enemies levels won't adjust. There's no level scaling. I don't think in Sparks. I'm trying to remember. No, because I think if you go back, you can easily just wipe older enemies from earlier levels. But yeah, I never had a problem with the leveling in Sparks of Hope. So um, yeah, I didn't think of anything else. Um, okay, yeah. So I think this may be the bulk of our discussion here is the characters and abilities because it's very loaded. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and they did a good job, I feel like, in this because the first thing that really is different from other tactics games is there's no, like, classes, like other like XCOM
Yeah,
and all those other games, like, you have a class, yeah. I mean, there are classes per se,
they're like soft classes based on
yeah,
the skill set and the
like
loadout. Yeah,
the character itself is the class, where like
yeah,
in XCOM you make snipers, you make scouts, you make berserkers, whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, this is all about which just is a good use of currency, the coins that you collect because you need them to buy your weapons, and you have a in the first game you have a sub weapon and a main weapon for each character, and they
yeah.
each have some of the if you pay more, they have special abilities. I'm curious which ability was always your favorite that you would get for the main weapon? You had, like, honey, bounce, vamp, or
Oh,
fire.
yeah, 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 the elemental. I mean, fire is always a good reliable. Bounce is really good too because like
Bounce
you
is
could
good,
just send enemies like
yeah.
flying halfway
Uh,
across the map and like
and
off
I
the
always
map. It was
I always would go
stupid.
bounce, and vamp because vamp, like, heals you back, especially
Yeah,
if
Vamp.
you're
I used Vamp for I think Rabid Mario, who's like the little maniac that
Yep,
runs
yep,
and
yep.
like
Because he
so
has
you
the
could basically
fifth
do chip
or
damage on all of them and gain
yeah.
life back. That's basically what he was. Yeah, the honey was good. There was one was honey's the one that just slows them down, or
It
right?
sticks them like, they can't move, like,
Yeah,
if
they
you
can't
shoot them
move.
with
I also
honey.
liked the one.
Oh, there's, like, oil where they can't see, I think, too.
Yeah,
Like, it,
yeah, I
like,
think it
covers
restricts
their
their, yeah,
face.
restricts their. There was one like disables their abilities, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah, that might be
Um,
honey. I think honey and maybe the oil would do that too, so, because one
yeah,
of
I'm
them
trying
would
to.
disable your sub weapon and one would disable your main weapon sometimes, and then you'd have to, like, jump on the character to cleanse them. With you could unlock ability that does
Yeah,
that.
and that's the thing too, is like all of your elemental abilities, the enemies would have those at various stages too.
Yep,
So like you're gonna get you're gonna be taking as much as you're giving out. So it just um adds more to it. I think, okay, so to compare, the one thing I wanted to pick your brain on to compare both is that, so in Kingdom Battle you get like so many weapons for characters based on elementals, whereas in Sparks of Hope it's pretty much just your one weapon that all you can really do is buy different skins for, right? So,
right, yeah.
which is more traditional for like a tactics, like an XCOM or whatever? Which one do you prefer in these games?
I think I prefer the ones, like, where you actually get different, like, elemental effects from the
Yeah,
weapon because it
there's just
just adds.
so many of them though for
Yeah.
character. It's like, oh my god, yeah, you had to really like,
And if you like, I would always try to give, like, different ones to different people, like, I would
yeah,
give somebody the burning one and then somebody else the bounce, just so you could, like, kinda combo them a little better,
yeah,
so but, yeah, I definitely prefer that.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, the single weapon that each character gets that they stick with in Sparks of Hope was a little bit disappointing. I would have liked maybe to fine tune the Kingdom Battle system more, because, like I said, there's
Yeah,
so many weapons in Kingdom Battle that it's like not feasible. It's like they added like a. It really was like they added an Ubisoft open world loot to uh
yeah.
to the game. There was like a little bit too many but weapons, but I tend to err on that side honestly versus the other one, because it does allow you to be more expressive and customizable with your loadouts.
And, Kingdom
Um,
Battle had a pretty easy skill tree to, wrap your head around. It's like, again, the first time you can kind of see what abilities you think you want, but, like,
yeah,
playing it the first time and then replaying it this time, I definitely unlocked my movement abilities a lot quicker. Like, where either
yeah,
it's like so you can dash into more enemies or move a little further. Where the first time I played, I didn't do that, but that's because I didn't realize, that how powerful that is and how much it
yeah.
changes, how you can play the game. And I feel like that more limited tool set kind of forces you, because, like you said, you have to play Mario, you have to have a rabbit in your party, so you kind of have to. Did you have, like, a set party in the first game that you liked, or you kind of switched through everybody?
Um,
I
yeah, I was
know.
gonna say that's a good. That's actually a really good segue, because we're doing characters and abilities. I feel like Mario. I mean, the Kingdom Battle, it required you to switch out your party more, because again the game was more demanding
Yeah, and they would
and
force you
punishing.
to do certain characters.
Yeah, they would force you to do based on like contextual things, but also like the mission types were more varied as well. So there would
Yeah.
be like well, we'll get into that more, but yeah, it forced you to do. But my favorites in Kingdom Battle, let me double check.
I'll
Well,
say for
Mario's
me, of
default,
course,
right?
we all
So
had to use Mario, so you kinda had to
yeah,
make him your favorite, but otherwise,
yeah,
Luigi, again, as we talked about. But then I also like, the bad thing is Yoshi and Rabbit Yoshi show up way too late in
they
that
do.
game, like, especially
Yeah,
Yoshi doesn't show up till, like, basically the end of the game, so by that time, I'm just like, "I have my party, I'm sorry."
yeah.
But I
Well,
would
Yoshi. I mean,
basically.
Yoshi's skill set is almost busted though, because he
I
has like the
know.
rocket launcher and he has like the giant AOE stomp
Yeah,
landing. It's
it is good.
crazy.
But I
Yeah,
also Rabbit Luigi is really good in Kingdom Battle, where I
yeah,
feel like he got kinda nerfed in Sparks of Hope, but if you his dash with his vamp ability just
yeah,
makes him a killer.
yeah.
So I would say between I would mostly use Mario, Luigi, Rabbit Mario, and Rabbit Luigi. Those are probably my 4 mainstays.
Yeah, I did Mario. I liked Peach a lot because like her
She's like
healing and
the
protection
tank.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
her protection was so good. Um Luigi was obviously good because he's a sniper, and he also has the hilarious Luigi stare ability. So
Yeah.
Like Mario and Luigi have these abilities. I think they have them in both of them where
Yeah, they do.
if you activate the ability, if an enemy comes within a certain proximity of them, they automatically
Overwatch, yep.
yeah, they automatically hit them even when it isn't their turn. So and it gets to the point where you can do like 3 of those in a row.
Yeah,
It's
and then
crazy.
when you bounce the enemy, it just keeps, like, making it, and then you trigger
Yeah.
somebody else. It's very
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah, so if they're on fire and they bounce and
Yeah,
they hit another enemy that turns them on fire. So yeah, Rabbid Mario was fun because he's just like a complete agent of chaos and he has the massive shotgun. Him and Peach both, like the shotgun was crazy for like
yeah.
fire as well. You can set a lot of them on fire. Which was it Rabbid Luigi that had the ability where you can like suck enemies into a proximity? Or was that Rabbid Mario?
That's Rabbit Mario because he's
Rabbid
all
Mario?
about the up close because he has the giant
Yeah.
hammer. So yeah, but Rabbit
Yeah.
Mario is really, and then his when he would run into an enemy, he'd set off like an explosion around him too, so it would
Yeah.
just add more damage.
Yeah. So if you like had that and then Rabbid was it yeah, Rabbid Peach had the grenade launcher, I believe, right?
She
She had one
had
of those.
that little like remote control robot
Oh,
thing.
yeah, the special ability. Then she had the chain gun, I think, right? The
Yeah,
minigun? Yeah.
yeah.
Or was it
Well,
Rabbid
I think
Yoshi?
Yoshi. I think she just had a regular gun, and then like
Yeah. Yeah.
toy like
Oh, that's
robot.
right. She had the repeater blaster and like Rabbid
Yeah,
Yoshi had the chain gun. Okay.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he had the bazooka too, I think, Rabbit Yoshi, which he's another one
Yeah.
I didn't use as much, I feel like.
No, I feel like Rabbid Peach, I didn't like her primary weapon too much, but she was also really good at heals and
Yeah,
stuff.
she had the
So
heals, which was the heal and that I do
yeah.
like which Luigi has that too, that robot that will, like it'll go a certain distance, and then it'll if it has, like, a proximity area, and then if it doesn't make it, enemies can shoot it, or it'll go where it's supposed to, because you can set it to target a certain enemy, and if it can't reach it, it'll go,
Yeah.
like, halfway and then
Yeah.
stop, and then go the rest of the way the rest of the next
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those were yeah, Luigi, I always try to do Luigi, Mario. I mean, Mario's a given. Um, in Sparks of Hope, let me double check.
Yes, the Sparks of Hope, I didn't like Rabbit Luigi as much. I loved Bowser because I just like you got his giant bazooka. I also feel like Edge was really good, which is the new
Yeah, Edge
Rabbit.
was sick. Yeah, Edge was like the emo like cloud
He's
character from
like
Final
the
Fantasy. That was
cloud
so
that
funny.
Mario Rabbit likes. I
Yeah, I
did
like that's
like
one of your first companions too. I
Yep,
laughed so
yep. I
hard.
did
Yeah.
like Rabbit Rosalina, but I feel like she kind of fell off near the end.
Yeah, her one freeze ability was so sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's there was some things like there was some abilities you can just almost like borderline break the game. Um,
Yeah, and obviously in that game you had the stars or the Lumas, like the
yeah, the
Luma
Rabbit Loomis. Yeah, for
stars.
your perks and stuff. Yeah,
Which those I did like the abilities they added. I do feel like it's almost again where it's like there's too many where you can kind of get bogged down trying to figure out well who should be assigned to which one. But I mean, adding more customization is a good thing too. But I did feel a little more overwhelmed with that, I will say.
yeah, I do like Luigi having a bow and arrow was cool too.
Yes, I did
I
like
always
the
like bow and arrows.
change
Yeah,
of, and Mario's like guns are like one for each hand, so he'll like shoot. You can shoot like do two shots
yeah,
to
you can do two
two
shots.
different
Yeah,
enemies.
yeah, that was cool. I like that. That wasn't just like a character key art thing. That was
Yeah.
actually a thing in gameplay. Yeah, and then Rabbid Mario and Sparks of Hope, he has like the two giant mech
Yeah,
arms,
the
like the Rock'em
fists.
Sock'em robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's sick. Yeah, it was pretty much like yeah, I didn't use Mario that much
I
in
know, I
Sparks of
didn't
Hope because
either, because we
yeah,
didn't have to then, because we had to use them the whole game in
nah.
Kingdom Battle.
Yeah, I mean his dual guns were cool for like the oversight ability, whatever it's called. But yeah, it was like I used Rabbid Peach a lot. I either tried to keep Rabbid Peach or Peach in there because he was like either a healer or protector.
Yeah. That is
Um,
the one I feel like big up for Sparks of Hope is giving you more you had more characters to choose from, and you could do any combination you
yeah,
want. You weren't locked in, which was good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I used. Well, yeah, Rabbid Rosalina was really cool with that.
She had like the little
That
toy, like a
yeah,
stuffed animal.
yeah. She had the stuffed animal. She had that. Yeah, she had that like freeze ability. Basically, like locked
Yeah.
everyone in place. You could even like lock a. I think you could lock a boss in place too. I mean, not all, if not
Bowser
all
is
of them, like
just
most
like
of them.
raw power with his giant bazooka. It's just
Yeah,
like,
Bowser is almost like Yoshi to me in the first game, where like he has like that landing
yeah,
ability. It's crazy. Yeah, that's right. He has the mortars, doesn't he? I think.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it was cool to see him join in. in the game. Let me see. I guess this will be the section two. So you played the DLC for Rabbids, right? Or excuse me,
Oh yeah, Kingdom Battle.
Kingdom
Yeah, I
Battles,
almost I did forget
Donkey
about
Kong, right?
that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will talk about that a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah, so this is again where Grant Kirkhope does you have the DK64 music themes, which obviously is great. You have the
Yeah.
DK Island.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the characters, there's only 3 characters in the DLC. I haven't played the one for Sparks of Hope, but which
No,
is
I haven't
kind of
either.
nice. So you have Rabbit Peach is the only returning, and then you have Donkey Kong himself, and then you have Rabbit Cranky Kong. He's basically like a Scrooge McDuck. Like he
I'm
has the
seeing that now.
pogo
It's
stick.
amazing. He has a crossbow, a wooden
Yeah,
crossbow. That's
and
funny.
DK can like use vines to like get around the area, which is really OP, and he can like pick people up with them and take them. But and yeah, the DLC's focused a lot on the first, which we can get into the bosses because it ties in. But the first
Okay.
boss of Rabbit Donkey Kong is the main boss of the DK Island expansion, which makes
Okay.
sense because he wants to be Donkey Kong. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool that they really like fully lean into it being like different content, not just like
and it's a solid 10-15 hour game too. So
yeah.
it's
So
beefy.
it's a whole full expansion, like it's whole new
Yeah,
areas and stuff too.
yep, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
I heard
it's not
it's
tied.
I heard it's more challenging too than base game.
I think it is harder. I didn't replay it when I played the original game this time,
Okay.
but when I first played it, it definitely does
Yeah.
push you. Because
Yeah.
again, you only have those 3 characters, and so they can really focus on making you utilize those three's move set. Because Rabbit Peach is the same, but then yeah, you have Cranky Kong and DK.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking at their abilities now.
DK uses like a a banana boomerang, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, yeah. Rabbit Cranky has an ability called Grump Jump. That's funny.
Yeah,
Boombo. Yeah, banana. Yeah, banana ring. DK ground pound. That makes sense. Hairy eye. Magnet groove. Okay. Um. Yeah. I think we covered the characters pretty well. I'm trying to think of any other differences. Um. Between the two.
they really.
Um.
I mean, the characters play very similar. Like
Yeah.
that were in Kingdom Battle, Sparks of Hope. They just like customize their weapons to make them a little better, like you said. But I wish you could. They would have kept the Kingdom Battle, like changed the how they look during the matches, and they would have different effects, like have the flames and all that again. But
Yeah. Yeah. I think and both. So Kingdom Battle has the traditional skill tree as well. I know Sparks of Hope has it, doesn't it?
it has a skill tree. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, it's pretty similar. I almost think Kingdom Battles is a little more in depth because there's more characters and Sparks of Hope, so they probably didn't want to do as many
Yeah.
like crazy changes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else with the characters and abilities. Oh yeah, Sparks of Hope has the Rayman DLC. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of
Yeah,
DLC
I
for
should
Sparks of
play.
Hope. I'm kind of
Heard
intrigued.
I've heard it's good, but yeah, I haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to play it yet.
Yeah. Okay, so then there is the boss fights of both games, which I was pleasantly surprised by this because again I had never played much of a tactics game at all, so I was kind of confused like what does a tactics boss fight looks like? Because it's when you think of tactics, you're like, oh, you think of like a series of enemies
Yeah, yeah,
around
but not one
various
big enemy.
elevations around it. They have different abilities, but I'm like, how do you fight one big person? And both games I feel like do a really good job of boss fights, making them feel distinct. Not obviously not just visually, but also like mechanically and kind of the gimmicks, if you will.
Yeah, because like if you think
Bosses.
about the first boss fight in Kingdom Battle is with Rabbit Kong, as we talked, and you have to like destroy his bananas or he'll keep healing. But
Yep.
you have to like damage him a certain amount in each area, and then he'll move to the next area. But then he'll like do an area bounce attack and send all your characters moving. So it can be tough, especially on the harder difficulties. And
Yeah.
of course,
Rabbit Kong was very
yeah.
fun.
Who's the boss of the second area? I can't even remember that one. Trying.
Icicle Golem. I was trying to
Oh
remember
yeah,
what
yeah.
his I'm trying to remember what his gimmick was. I think maybe he smashed.
He would freeze you and stuff. I do
Yeah,
remember now. And yeah, I think you could only attack him from certain angles because I think like he would have
yeah.
like
He had the
blocks.
giant tablet, I think, right, or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Then of course the ghost, the opera singer, is fun. He's great.
Yeah, that was a very memorable one. And then, so this is still Kingdom Battle. So you had the Ice Golem, the Phantom, which was really cool. And then was the final one was of course Bowser, which I think is like a
Bowser,
dragon
yeah.
version of Bowser.
Which
That one,
it,
go
it
ahead.
was kind of disappointing, I
Yeah,
thought, but I,
I
I
agree.
actually really liked the Wario Waluigi fight. Do you remember the rabbit Wario
Yeah,
Waluigi? That it's one of the final boss fights too. That's
yeah,
in that area. That one I actually really liked.
yeah. That one was very fun. The final Bowser fight. I guess we can. Who cares about really cares all that much about spoilers? Like it requires the one gimmick where he has to run into
Yeah, the
the various
walls
pieces.
or
Yeah, the various
yeah.
pieces of geometry. I'm like, it's kind of annoying that it kind of requires that
It
one.
goes on too long, I
It
feel
does
like.
too. Yeah, it's like three phases or something. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, yeah. It's very annoying. Yeah, the lava. I think the lava queen fight before that was pretty good too. Um, but yeah, that was kind of the only that final, very final fight. It was like kind of the one unfortunate like downside of really the combat and the bosses in the game. Um, I found that kind of
I gotta
annoying.
look up the bosses and Sparks of Hope.
Yeah, I'm looking them up right now too.
They were definitely more like I do remember that Bedrock fight. I liked they were definitely more rabbit focused. Like you had Giant Wild Claw, Bedrock.
Yeah, it definitely. Well, I don't know if you want to call it lore, but it definitely leans into more of like the Rabid, the
Yeah.
lore, the vast, expansive lore of the Rabbids universe. Yeah, the Wiggler was cool too. That was a
Yeah, I
fun
did
fight where
that
you're
was a
on
good
like the
one.
ship and you have to like
Yeah.
shoot pieces of the Wiggler and trying to think what else. Yeah, there
Honestly, a
was.
lot of these I would have forgot. Like I don't remember too many of these ones.
Yeah, because they weren't too challenging. There were some again like that opening tutorial fight. Like all of them had like a sense of scope and scale to them.
Yeah.
There's the one evil rabbit that was annoying because she would always like manipulate all like the other enemies around her, and
Yeah.
the areas are a lot bigger in these boss fights as well. So you have like a lot of
Right.
ground to cover. Like these, the final. I think it's yeah. I think it's the very final fight. You're basically your characters are partitioned off into zones, so it kind of forces you into like these small groups, and it cycles between them.
That's a very traditional tactics final boss where you
Is
have to
it?
use like your whole team and you're like in
Yeah,
different areas. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really fun because it really was almost like an Avengers sort of thing, sort of like an Avengers
Yeah.
final fight, where like kind of these random, not like random, but the way they designed it of like these characters that I think it was like groups of three, if I remember. Maybe it was two and then three. Um, yeah, they were pretty. It was pretty memorable. Yeah, there's the Darkness Edge too, which is like a dark, more emo version of
Yeah.
Edge. Is
Yeah.
very funny. Oh yeah, the Cursa was the one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Curse
was
is
the
the fun. You fight her kind of at the beginning, but yeah, then at the end too.
yeah.
So
It's a very yeah. Cursa looks like a very JRPG
yeah,
type of
very
boss.
dark tentacles, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like weird sort of spiral design to their eyes and stuff. Mecha King Bomb Bomb was a cool design um, as well. I enjoyed that one. Yeah, there's a lot of them. That's kind of the one of the positives of Sparks of Hope is like there's a lot of mini bosses too. Um, oh yeah, the final Phantom was the opera one. That one was cool in Sparks of
Yeah.
Hope. It kind of reminded me of the other one in Kingdom Battle. Yeah, that's right. Because he could lure the player characters in, kind of like what Rabbid Mario does.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any of the other
Yeah, honestly, when it
yeah
comes to
bosses.
tactics games, usually bosses are not like a focus. Like you
Yeah,
said, usually typically enemies or surviving hordes. But I feel like XCOM, it's funny, and this the second one in the expansion introduced like kind of boss characters that would just show up in missions and kind of harass you. Where in the original base, like they really didn't even have bosses. So
yeah, yeah. And there were some. Now that I'm thinking of it, there were some. I believe they were like main story combat encounters in Sparks of Hope, where you had to destroy pieces of geometry.
Yep, yep.
within the level to
That's a common
advance.
thing too.
Yeah, I figured it was. So, um, yeah, I think we kind of ran through the bosses as well. And was there anything else that you recalled from the boss fights? There's nothing else specifically that I can recall. I think we highlighted the ones.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Kingdom Battle, I mean, the Rabbit Mario or Rabbit Donkey Kong, the Opera
Yeah,
Singer, and Rabbit Wario and Waluigi were probably my standouts. Sparks of Hope, it was the boxer, and probably even just the first tiger boss. I kind of liked him, but
yeah, yeah. And the final, yeah, there's the one, the midnight. That's like a three-phase
yeah,
boss fight. That's like the arch nemesis of I don't know, one of the Rabbids characters. Yeah, that was yeah. It was kind of like a JRPG thing where it's like, why is this three phases? It doesn't need to be. It makes you think like it's the end of the game.
right.
But no, it was still overall still, I would say, pretty consistently good bosses, if not like maybe one or two annoyances. So the final aspect that I want to discuss is the mission types, which may not seem relevant, but that's kind of one thing that surprised me. If there is one kind of gameplay pitch, elevator pitch, I would say for these games is that Ubisoft actually made escort missions fun and
Yeah,
engaging. I can't believe I'm saying that, which
though I will
who
say
knew
that
it takes tactics to
that
do that.
Toad though is an idiot half the time. Like, just get at it. Like, he runs right into the open and gets shot constantly. So
Yeah, yeah. I think in the second is it there's one of them where you can control them, right? Like you actually manually
you
move them.
actually, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you do control them even in Kingdom Battle. So I guess that maybe I was the idiot. Never mind. I get
Maybe.
they're just there. They can't do anything but move. I guess
No,
so.
yeah, they literally cannot do anything by move. They can't like. I think you can jump off top of them, but they can't. I don't think they can. I think can they jump off of
I don't
other
think
characters?
so.
No, I don't think so. They have to freely move. So like they're very limited. So like you have to be very cognizant of getting them around the map. And I didn't really have any trouble. I didn't fail any of them, but it was such a good wrinkle
Yeah.
to do that
Yeah, it was
to get them
mostly it
across.
was the escort ones that get to a certain area, defeat all enemies or defeat a certain type or number of enemies, I think, were
Yeah.
those the main, or beat the boss, of course.
Yeah, there was yeah, and then you're reminding me too that the first game is more demanding because it adds a rating scale when you complete a level
Yes.
because it'll be like you beat it in X number of turns.
Yeah, or and none of
Um,
your characters died. That's why it's so hard to get, like, perfect on hard, because
yeah,
yeah, you have those extra things.
yeah. And is that a thing in tactics games too, where it like rates you based on number of
Not
moves
not
and
I mean, sometime like, I'm trying to think, I don't think in Fire Emblem you usually get a
yeah.
rating. XCOM, you don't typically either. I think it varies.
I feel like that's their way of like translating like beating a Mario level in a certain
Right.
time or like yeah, so
I kinda
yeah,
like it, like, I
I
like
do.
the extra
It
challenge.
adds an arcadey aspect to it.
Yeah.
And granted, I would say I did like I played on normal difficulty in Kingdom Battle. I did like I would say I did 2/3 of them were like perfect, where like no one died and like I did
Yeah,
it. And then probably like the other third were like either most of them were like the rating below, which was like I think good or something, and then the other one
yeah.
was fair. So like if you
Sometimes
beat the level, then you automatically get like a fair rating or
right,
whatever. So
sometimes stuff just goes badly wrong, like, if your character gets on fire, they end up in a bad position, or they
yeah,
fall off a cliff and then set another character on fire, so,
yeah.
yeah, then you just restart at that point.
Yeah, you're quick to restart. I think that's one thing the game is really good about is like you can restart a
Yeah,
battle really quickly. Um, yeah, the ones that were basically just get to the end of the map, I found kind of like they were okay. They were a little bit of a wrinkle, but I didn't find them that challenging necessarily because
no.
you can
You
almost
only had to
just
get
break it with one character's movement
yeah, and you
set.
only
You know?
had to get 1 character there, not
Yeah,
all of them.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, so um, I understand they wanted to add a wrinkle to it. I mean, kill all the enemies is
The
kind of
normal.
the yeah, the normal one. I'm trying to think there was one. I'm trying to think of the other mission types where there were some specific ones that I found were a little bit more challenging. I think it was like kill maybe there was some where like kill all the enemies within
Yeah, a certain amount of
yeah, a
turns
certain
or
number of moves or like yeah, there were the challenge ones were cool too because it was like kill these X number of
survive. They had
enemies.
survive too, like, you had to survive a certain
Yeah,
amount of
those were the toughest ones, the survive ones, because it's almost like a horde mode, but in tactics. They also had some where the Goomba enemies, you couldn't traditionally shoot them. You had to, like, you had to bump them and slide them and then pick them up and throw them off the
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a Sparks of Hope thing, wasn't it? Or did they
I
do that?
think so, yeah. Yeah,
Because
that
they
was a
did
nice
that with
add it took me a second to figure out what I had to
yeah,
do, because there would be times where you would be in the middle of the level and you weren't close enough to the edge to be able to throw them off.
right.
Um, and
Or
I
you would
do like
just
that it
act
was original wrinkle because in Mario, Goombas are like the stupidest enemies
yeah,
ever, like,
I
you can just
know.
easily defeat them, but now it's like
Or it would be annoying when you'd slide into, like, a 3 set of Goombas and you'd only do 2 of them. It's like, I'm not gonna shoot one as a turn, that's just a waste, but
yeah, yeah. Yeah, then they would end up doing, like, a lot of damage too, so it was, like, a little bit of risk and reward, but yeah, those were kinda had a fine line, but I found them while they weren't that overall difficult, I found them, uniquely engaging, but yeah, those are pretty much the mission types. I just wanna emphasize that again is, like, this actually Ubisoft actually made escort missions fun and
yeah, they
engaging.
did. And I feel like there's a good balance, like, I never really got tired of one specific type, like, they
No.
always would change it up pretty well.
No, and even with the standard, like, kill all the enemies there was such an enemy variety
Yeah.
in terms of what their abilities were and how they could attack and everything else. I did like the added wrinkle of when you had, like, the big kind of Chungus melee enemies versus the smaller ones. So, like, the big Chungus enemies, like, you had to keep your distance from them, but also you had to move around
Yeah, because
to be
they
able to kill
move
the
when
other
you
enemies.
shoot at them, so you can kinda set it up
Yes.
so they'll get overwatched when they move, or you can move them closer to somebody else, but yeah, that you'll take damage if they're too close.
Yeah, yeah, because what I would do a lot of times is I would take a little bit of a risk where I would position my enemies a little bit or my characters a little bit further apart, and then I would shoot one of the big Chunguses. He would move towards that character automatically, but then you would hit him with another character from further away because he would be moving away from
Yeah.
the other character. Then you would you basically kind of yo-yo him of sorts, back and forth. Was there anything else with kind of like the mission structure of or the mission types that you wanted to?
No, I looked at all of them just as a refresher, and I think we pretty much covered them all.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. Yeah, like I said, just due to Sparks of Hope, it kind of adds a little bit more environmental
Yeah.
aspect to some of the engagement
Yeah,
because
like
they
you said, they added this structure, purify the area or something like that.
yeah, because you would need to use it to progress through the level too, because it would be like
Yeah.
blocked off, or it would be like a corruption or a poisoning where you would get take damage in doing it. So, no, yeah, I think we ran through a lot of it. God, it's already yeah, we've already gone through like an hour. I think we're pretty set. Was there anything else with the games that you wanted to shout out with the DLCs or anything
No, I mean,
else?
I think especially with Kingdom Battle, I think it's can be deceiving on you would think it'd be a very easy game, but it's actually pretty challenging if you
Yeah,
really try to go for the hard difficulty or do some of those post-game challenges. Like it'll really if you like strategy games, if you're a veteran, I feel like you should definitely play Kingdom Battle. Like you said, if you're a newbie, you should maybe start with Sparks of Hope, but they're both great games. Like I said, I prefer the first game, but I am disappointed we're not going to get a third one because I do like the just the genre for Mario. Like Mario has his RPGs, but I would have loved continuing to get Tactics Mario too.
yeah, that would be good. But I mean, at least we got two of them, right? Because of how many
We did,
games where
yeah.
we regret like we didn't get a sequel to. It's I would have never guessed that a Nintendo Ubisoft collab that's a tactics game would have gotten
A
um
sequel, yeah.
yeah that have gotten a sequel. I know people were very surprised when the sequel was announced um as well. Um yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I guess Kingdom Battle, which I didn't even know so it's the best-selling third-party Switch game, and it surpassed, or is one of the best. It surpassed 10 million sales, which I did not realize it sold that many.
Kingdom Battle did?
Yeah, the first one, not
Wow.
Sparks of Hope. Yeah,
I guess a combo of that is because Ubisoft lowers the price
yeah,
too. It's
it's
probably a
really.
cheaper
I mean,
price.
yeah, the game regularly drops to 12 to
Yeah,
$17.
that's another thing I was
So
gonna say too, is it still has the Ubisoft thing over they go on discount pretty good, pretty well, and pretty deep too. I got the Sparks of Hope, like, complete edition with all the DLC for, like, $8 digitally, so definitely keep an eye out. I mean, you shouldn't really I mean, if you
yeah,
wanna go out and
it's
buy
easy to
maybe
find.
you are so intrigued now you wanna go buy both immediately, but I would say, like, you can get them both for like $20 each, honestly.
Sparks of Hope only sold about 3 million, so it was a big drop compared to the first game.
Yeah, it's
But
sad. I
still,
think
3 million's good. I mean, compared to
yeah,
most game, but not for Ubi, of course.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, not for Ruby. That's sad. But hey, at least we got two great games. And I like
Yeah,
that they're unique. They're kind of distinct. And yeah, I think we're good there. This was a really good chat. I'm so glad to be doing another mainline episode again. I'm glad you were able to come back on.
I appreciate
Um,
you having me. It was fun to discuss these. Yeah, I do really
yeah,
like the series, but yeah, we had a good ride, so
yeah, we had a good ride, and I'll be looking to have you on again sometime with what other game you want to shout out. And of course you're already giving a lot of deep thought to what game you're going to shout out this year, right, for the end of the year episode, right? So
yeah, I'm trying. What have I even said? I'm trying to. Oh, yeah, the. I know. I think I know it. I'll probably be shouting out Fire Emblem naturally, but
Fire Emblem.
we'll
Well,
see.
the hope is that Fire Emblem blows up enough where it doesn't qualify, right? It's not under the
That,
radar enough.
that's true.
Yeah,
It
that's
probably
crazy. A
will
whole
sell
big
really
fire.
good.
It's a mainline. It's a new mainline Fire Emblem, right?
It
It's
is.
not like a Musa or anything.
No, it's
That's
mainline,
crazy.
and it's like Engaged and do as good as Three Houses, but this is actually
Yeah.
from the Three Houses team because Engaged was like the secondary team
That's what I was
basically.
gonna say. It's more of like a side sort of spin-off thing, but
Yeah, I mean it
no,
is
it's
a
cool.
mainline game, but
It
yeah,
is a mainline game, but
it was
okay.
the B team more. So
Okay. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'll be looking to have you back on again for sure, and also your former podcast compatriots,
yeah, we're taking a
Connor
break
and
for now, but we actually might I might be putting an episode up here in a few. We'll see once. I might be bringing it back for one, at least one. Maybe we'll do a couple special episodes every now and then. But yeah, we're just all too busy right now, unfortunately.
I hear that. I hear that definitely. I'm trying my best to do stuff too because I enjoy doing this thing. So, but yeah, it's great to have you on, and we will see you next time.
Sayonara.